Are you a good guy trying to be bad, or are you a bad guy trying to be good?
That's a good question. I think I am a bad guy that's trying to be good. Just because religiously we're all sinners. We're all sinners. We're born into sin. It's our nature to sin. And it's a decision to try to do the right thing. You know, it's a decision to do the right thing when no one's looking, right? And so I think all of us as humans, none of us are shit, and it's our choice to try to be more than. And so I had to say I lean closer to being an imperfect human that's trying to do the right things and be good.
The most controversial fighter in MMA is back on March 4th to pursue his goal of becoming UFC heavyweight champion, a goal that was put on hold for almost 10 years, but better late than never. Jon held the pound-for-pound king status for almost 6 years. He's considered by many to be the greatest fighter of all time. But only the heavyweight champion can call himself the baddest man on the planet. Jon Jones is a great fighter, but he doesn't stand anywhere close to Bones, the dark alter ego of Jon. The first time we saw Jon Jones transforming into Bones was against the always dangerous Rampage Jackson.
So something just said, get on your knees and crawl up to him. And then automatically the dream voids itself of him knocking you out immediately, right? So I did that, and I got to kind of, I don't know, fight in an alter ego kind of state, and it was super powerful. Now to this day, I say that same kind of prayer over myself, and I believe that I transform into something.
Bones is ruthless. There is no moral code, no boundaries. His game plan is brutal. Damage their ability to move. Damage the vision of his opponents.
Is saying before the fight that I'll end up poking him in the eyes at some point. And the reason why he says that is because I do poke people in the eyes, and it's very illegal.
His most ruthless moment was shown when he choked out Lyoto Machida in a standing guillotine and let his body fall.
I honestly felt like I could have broken his neck at that time, but it choked him out, man. It was beautiful.
Stop right there! Stop right there!
The closer Jon Jones gets to defeat, the faster Bones will come out and save his host. A symbiote that seems to infect all parts of his life. When Jon Jones made a mistake against Vitor Belfort and got caught in an armbar, Vitor hyperextended Jones' arm. But Jon held onto it and used his freakish strength to escape the submission. Later in the fight, Bones almost broke Vitor's arm.
Jon Jones remains the UFC light heavyweight champion.
Idle hands are the devil's plaything. When out of competition, an even deeper darkness pervades his personal life. Winning fights became easy. Jones wasn't threatened by Gustafsson, the young European who had already been beaten in the UFC before. Jon didn't train hard for the fight, winning via a controversial judge's decision. The bigger the threat is, the more dangerous he will become to neutralize that threat and maintain his status quo. His next title defense was a perfect example of that, because his next opponent, Glover Teixeira, stepped into the octagon riding a 20-fight win streak, 18 of which were finishes. Glover was best known for being brutally dangerous in the clinch with his boxing and jiu-jitsu. Jon welcomed the challenge. During the whole fight, he intentionally entered the clinch positions and destroyed Glover at his own game. It was ugly and turned out to be a bloodbath for Glover. At the time, everything was going great for the young superstar. He was successful, rich, and he had the world at his fingertips. Most importantly, though, he could control his alter ego. It rarely showed up outside of fighting. until it did.
At the time, getting ready for Gustafson, I felt like, all right, I won by the skin of my teeth, but I won. I just did it. Like, I'm getting ready to do this again. The guy's not really a huge trash talker. I didn't really feel anything. I was motivated, of course, because I wanted to prove a lot of doubters wrong and beat them in a more devastating fashion the second time. It was nothing like being able to fight DC. The drama that we have.
Daniel Cormier, a former heavyweight and also an undefeated fighter, posed the biggest threat in Jon Jones' career. Personal hatred let the symbiote get hold. The psychotic nature of his alter ego was clear, and he carried it through the whole build-up to the fight. The moment Bones took over Jon was crystal clear in this off-air interview. The mask completely fell off.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here. You are just the fakest person. I actually admire that you can actually be this fake. And like when the TV comes on, how you can just change. It's like you're a chameleon.
Hey.
You're the fucking scum of the earth. You are a terrible human being, but you can sure turn it on, huh?
Thank you.
God, you fuck. I wish they would let me next door so I could spit in your fucking face.
I would absolutely kill you if you ever did something like that,
You
right?
could never kill me.
Oh, I bet you I could.
Then you should try, John. You really should try, John.
No, I would literally kill you if you spit in my face.
Yeah, let's try that, John.
Literally kill you.
Let's try that, John.
I'm not saying I would fight you. I said I would kill you if
John,
you did some
do you
stupid
think?
shit like that.
So, John, do you think I'm just gonna sit there and let you kill me, John? I mean, really?
That cold confidence was on full display in the fight. Jon slowly started breaking down Cormier and was better at almost every exchange. When he knew he had already beat DC's body, he went for his mind. There was no real need to take down Cormier, but he wanted to break his spirit. He finished the round with Cormier being on the floor, and Jones put his hand on DC's forehead. Bones started celebrating the victory before the fight was even over, and he raised his hands up, which led DC to put his guard down. Bones used that time to land a few more punches and ended the fight far less than respectfully.
Mitch Ward is actually his lead counsel, but he's out of town.
In the next 2 years, Jon fought only once, and it wasn't the most decorated opponent. Despite beating OSP in all 5 rounds, a lot of critics thought that Jon didn't look like the previous version of himself. But it all changed when, after another year of suspension for using banned substances, Jon Jones came back to reclaim his title against then-champion and former rival, Daniel Cormier. Jon showed up for the fight completely shaved with only a goatee on his face, fitting for the greatest of all time. In hindsight, Jon Jones beating Daniel Cormier for the second time was inevitable. He fights to the level of competition. DC knew what he needed for the win and what to avoid in this fight, but fate was not on his side.
I know that there's one thing that I do that has gotten me in trouble, if you want to call it trouble, that I've been in a fight before, and I haven't been in much trouble. So in the instance that I did get maybe a cut or something, I know it was because of that tendency he's talking about.
You're talking about the Josh Burnett fight, but
You see, so maybe we are on the same wavelength. That will be figured out by September 27th. And so don't think you're gonna kick me in the head with your left leg.
Feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail nonetheless. Dread it, run from it, destiny arrives all the same.
Jon did not take half measures. He was dropping bombs on DC's head to make sure the title was secured. The same bombs that he dropped on Gustafson's head 18 months later. It looked like the best days for Jon Jones are ahead of him. He got his title back, stayed out of trouble for the most part, and had new goals set in front of him. Adesanya was supposed to be his next big challenge, but after Adesanya lost to Jan Blachowicz, Jon knew that wasn't the challenge that he needed. Neither Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos, or Dominic Reyes were threats to the greatest fighter in the world. After average performances against them, Jon went missing. Who is Jon Jones without fighting? And what is he going to do without it? 10 years ago, a young kid was thrown to fight wolves in the cage, and all the fear brought the most danger out of him. The alter ego of Jon, Bones, had to be created to survive. With time, it overwhelmed him and took complete control over him. He stayed within this kind of state for too long. It killed Jon Jones, the quiet Christian, and left only the darker side. Or was Jones the act all along? We don't know. But when he's not fighting, Jon is empty, miserable, and helpless. The video of him being arrested and crying in a police car is one of the most heartbreaking videos in MMA.
You want to take it off yourself? I just want you guys to feel comfortable. I have to punish you, okay?
That's it. Who's in there?
Sir? Yes, sir. If it's not too much, could you come down? Of course. This is yours, okay? You got this here, and you want me to hold on?
As well as another incident only a year later.
This is so humiliating. I got the Hall of Fame tonight, and then you're gonna put me on this by walking down the street. Thank you. My Hall. A black man can't drink, and getting elected into the Hall of Fame, and now this is what I got. Do you? Relax. Relax. You all right? You all right? Relax. You have anything in your pockets, man? What did I do? Is it okay? What did I do? The other officers, I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. No, please don't. Okay, yeah.
The year is 2023. Jon Jones is scheduled to fight Cyril Gane, one of the best heavyweights today. For the last year, Jon has been training and staying out of trouble. He's getting another chance in this life. The prognosis is not favorable for Jon, however. If he wins, he gets back to the old vicious cycle. Can Gane break the cycle? Maybe for the sake of Jon, Bones needs to lose.